9 years of distance, one locked door, no way out. When Aria Vance stumbles into the wrong bedroom at midnight, she comes face to face with the one man she swore she'd never see again, Dominic Rourke, Chicago's most dangerous kingpin and her brother's right hand. The man she ran from. The man who still looks at her like she's the only thing worth risking everything for. He locks the door. She doesn't ask him to open it, and in that moment they both know some things you can't outrun forever. Stay until the end to see how this forbidden love ignites a war. Drop a like and comment your city below. Let's see how far this story travels. The rain came down in sheets, turning Michigan Avenue into a river of neon and headlights. Aria Vance pressed herself against the brick wall of the alley, phone clutched in one hand, the other braced against her ribs where the stitch was forming. Her breath came in short bursts, fog in the cold April air. Pick up, pick up, pick up, she muttered, listening to the ringtone drone on. Nothing. Caleb's phone went straight to voicemail for the third time. She shouldn't have come back to Chicago. She'd told herself that for 9 years every time she thought about home. Every time she thought about him. The club entrance loomed 50 feet away, all velvet rope and muscle in black suits. The Crimson Room. Her brother's territory now, though he'd never call it that to her face. Caleb kept his hands clean in conversation, dirty everywhere else. She knew what he was, had always known. What she hadn't known was that coming home would feel like stepping into a furnace. A hand grabbed her elbow. Aria spun, fist already coming up, but the bouncer raised both palms. Easy. You're Vance's sister, right? He had kind eyes. Wrong profession. He's expecting you. Top floor. She nodded, tucking the phone away. Her heart hammered against her sternum as she followed him through the entrance, past the velvet and the crowds and the bass that shook the walls. The elevator ride lasted 30 seconds. Felt like 30 years. The doors opened to silence. Hardwood floors, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Leather furniture that probably cost more than her year's rent in Boston. This was Caleb's world now. Polished, controlled, lethal. Aria. She turned. Her brother stood in the doorway of what looked like an office, drink in hand, tie loosened. Caleb had always been handsome in that sharp, dangerous way, all angles and intensity, but 9 years had carved something harder into his features, something that made her chest ache. "You look like hell," he said. "You look like a gangster." His mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Come here." She crossed the space between them and let him pull her into a hug that felt like coming home and stepping into quicksand all at once. He smelled like expensive cologne and gun oil. She pressed her face against his shoulder and tried not to think about how long it had been. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" he asked, pulling back to look at her. "Because you would have told me not to." "Smart girl." She punched his arm. He didn't flinch. "I'm serious, Aria. Chicago isn't—" He stopped, jaw working. "It's not safe for you here." "It's not safe for you either. That's why I came." His expression shuddered. There it was. The wall he put up whenever someone got too close to the truth. "I'm handling it." "Marcus is dead, Caleb. They found him in the river 3 days ago." Silence. Heavy and sharp-edged. Marcus Chen had been Caleb's partner. Not in the legal sense, but in the sense that mattered in this world. The kind of partner who took bullets and gave alibis and never asked questions that didn't need asking. And now he was gone. "I know," Caleb said finally. "I know he's dead." "Then you know someone's making a move." "I said I'm handling it." His voice cut like glass. "You shouldn't be here. You should be in Boston, finishing your degree, living your life. Not—" He gestured vaguely at the club below, at the city beyond. "Not this. You're my brother. That's exactly why you need to leave." The office door opened. Aria felt the temperature in the room drop before she even turned around. Dominic Rourke stood in the doorway, all 6'3" of controlled violence and impossible calm. Dark hair still damp at the edges. Dress shirt rolled to the elbows, eyes the color of smoke and steel, locked directly on her. Time didn't stop. It shattered. 9 years. 9 years since she'd seen him, since she'd run from him, from Chicago, from everything that made her feel like she was drowning and flying at the same time. And he looked exactly the same, exactly as dangerous, exactly as Aria. Her name in his mouth sounded like a prayer and a threat. "Dominic," she managed. Her voice came out steadier than she felt. Caleb's gaze flicked between them, sharp and assessing. "You two remember each other." "Hard to forget," Dominic said. He hadn't moved from the doorway, hadn't looked away from her. The air in the room felt like it was being compressed. Aria forced herself to breathe, to stand still, to not run like every instinct was screaming at her to do. "Aria was just leaving," Caleb said. "No, I wasn't." "Yes, you were." She turned to face her brother, anger flaring hot and bright. "You called me 2 weeks ago at 3 a.m, drunk off your ass, saying you didn't know how much longer you could do this. You think I'm just going to walk away?" Caleb's jaw clenched. "That was a mistake." "Calling me or admitting you're in over your head?" "Both." Dominic made a sound that might have been a laugh. Caleb shot him a look that could have drawn blood. "Give us a minute," Caleb said. "No." Aria crossed her arms. "Whatever you need to say to him, you can say in front of me." "Aria, I'm not a kid anymore, Caleb. Stop treating me like one." The silence stretched thin. Then Dominic spoke, voice low and even. "She has a point." Caleb exhaled through his nose. "Fine. The Volkov crew hit one of our shipments last night, took everything, left 2 of our guys in the hospital." Aria's stomach dropped. The Volkovs were Russian mob, old school, vicious. "How bad?" "Bad enough that we're looking at retaliation, which means war, which means—" Caleb looked at her, and for just a second, she saw the brother she grew up with. The one who taught her to throw a punch and pick a lock and never, ever trust someone who smiled too much. "Which means you need to get the hell out of Chicago before this gets uglier." "Or," Dominic said, "she stays at the estate, under protection." Both of them looked at him. Aria's pulse kicked up. "No," Caleb said immediately. "It's the safest place in the city. You know that." "I said no." "Why?" Aria cut in. "Because you don't trust him, or because you don't trust me?" The look Caleb gave her could have stopped her heart. "Both." The words hit like a slap. She'd expected it maybe, but hearing it out loud still carved something raw in her chest. Dominic's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Something dangerous and controlled. "I've kept you alive for 9 years, Caleb. You really think I'd hurt her?" "I think," Caleb said slowly, "that you're the only person in this city I trust with my life. And that's exactly why I don't trust you with hers." The room went silent. Aria stared at her brother, at Dominic, at the space between them, charged and volatile. She thought about running, about the apartment in Boston, the half-finished thesis, the life she'd built that was safe and boring and nothing like this. Then she thought about Marcus in the river, about Caleb's voice on the phone, cracked and desperate, about the way Dominic was looking at her like she was the only real thing in the room. "I'm staying," she said. "Aria, not at the estate, not under anyone's protection. I'll get a hotel, but I'm not leaving you." Caleb closed his eyes. "You're going to get yourself killed." "Then I'll die in good company." When he opened his eyes again, they were wet. He didn't cry. Caleb never cried. But they were wet, and that was somehow worse. "If anything happens to you, it won't." He looked at Dominic. Something passed between them, some silent conversation Aria wasn't part of. Then Caleb nodded, once, sharp. "The Marquise Hotel, downtown. I'll have someone set it up. You'll take the room I give you, and you'll have a security detail, or you'll get on a plane tonight. Choose." Aria bit back the argument, picked her battles. "Fine." "Good." Caleb drained his drink, set the glass down hard. "Now, get out, both of you. I have work to do." Dominic moved first, stepping back into the hallway. Aria followed, skin prickling with awareness as she passed him. He smelled like rain and something darker. Something that made her throat tight. The elevator doors closed behind them. She pressed herself against the far wall, as much distance as she could get in 6 feet of space. "You shouldn't be here," Dominic said. His voice was quiet, controlled. "So I've heard." "I'm serious, Aria." "So am I." He turned to look at her then. Really look at her. And she felt it in her bones, that look. Felt it like a hand around her throat, like heat in her bloodstream. She'd spent 9 years trying to forget what it felt like when he looked at her like that. 9 years wasted. This isn't Boston, he said. This isn't safe. I know what Chicago is. Do you? He took a step closer. The elevator suddenly felt smaller. Because the city you left doesn't exist anymore. Caleb's holding together an empire with duct tape and violence. The Volkovs want him dead. The Italians want him dead. Half his own crew would sell him out for the right price. And you... His gaze dragged over her, slow and deliberate. You're a target the second anyone realizes you're back. Then I'll be careful. Careful doesn't keep you breathing in this world. What does? The elevator dinged, doors opened. Dominic didn't move. Me, he said. Then he walked out, leaving her standing there with her heart in her throat and her hands shaking. The Marquise Hotel was all marble and gold trim, the kind of place that made her feel underdressed in jeans and a leather jacket. The man at the front desk didn't blink when she gave her name, just handed over a key card and told her the penthouse was ready. Of course it was. The elevator ride up was longer this time, quieter. She leaned against the wall and tried to slow her breathing, tried not to think about Dominic's voice, the way he'd looked at her, the way he'd said me like it was both a promise and a threat. The penthouse was obscene, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lake, king bed with sheets that probably cost more than her car, a bathroom with a tub big enough to drown in. She dropped her bag by the door and walked to the window. The city sprawled below, lights cutting through the rain. Chicago. Home. Prison. Both. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Don't leave the hotel tonight. D. She stared at the message, deleted it, then sat down on the edge of the bed and put her head in her hands. What the hell was she doing? The knock on the door came at 11:47 p.m. Aria jerked awake, heart slamming. She dozed off on top of the covers, still dressed. The room was dark except for the city glow through the windows. Another knock. Harder. She grabbed the lamp off the nightstand, heavy brass, decent weapon, and moved to the door. Checked the peephole. Empty hallway. Wrong. All of it wrong. She backed away from the door, lamp still raised, and reached for her phone. The door opened. Not kicked in. Not broken. Just opened. Like someone had a key. Aria's breath stopped. Dominic stepped inside, closing the door behind him with a quiet click. He was soaked. Rain dripping from his hair, his jacket, blood on his knuckles. What the hell? Get dressed, he said. Voice flat, eyes wild. We're leaving. Now. What happened? They found your hotel. I don't know how, but they found it. We have maybe 5 minutes before... The window exploded. Glass and noise and chaos. Aria hit the floor, arms over her head. Dominic was already moving, gun in his hand, returning fire through the shattered window. The sound was deafening, endless. Then his hand was on her arm, hauling her up. Move! They ran. Out the door, down the hall. Behind them, she heard shouting. Footsteps. The sharp crack of gunfire punching through drywall. The emergency stairs. Dominic shoved her through the door, and they took the steps 3 at a time. Her lungs burned. Her ears rang. This wasn't real. Couldn't be real. They burst out into the underground parking garage. A black SUV sat idling near the exit, driver's side door open. Dominic pushed her toward it. Get in. She did. He slid behind the wheel, threw it in drive, and they were moving before she even got the door closed. The tires screamed. The SUV fishtailed around corners, concrete pillars blurring past. Then they were out, onto the street, merging into late-night traffic like nothing had happened. Aria pressed a hand to her chest, felt her heart trying to break through her ribs. What? Her voice cracked. What the hell was that? The Volkovs. Or someone working for them. Dominic's hands were white-knuckled on the wheel, blood still dripping from his knuckles onto the leather. They wanted to send a message. By killing me. By taking you. Killing you would have been a courtesy. Nausea rolled through her stomach. She looked out the window. Rain, lights, the city sliding past like a fever dream. Where are we going? Dominic didn't answer for a long moment. Then quiet. The only place they won't look. 20 minutes later, they pulled through iron gates into a tree-lined driveway. The estate rose out of the darkness like something from another century. Stone and windows and shadows. Dominic's home. He killed the engine. sat there, hands still gripping the wheel. "This is a mistake," he said. "What is?" "You. Here. All of it." Aria looked at him, really looked, at the tension in his jaw, the blood on his hands, the way he was holding himself together through sheer force of will. "Then why did you save me?" she asked. He turned, met her eyes, and the look on his face made her forget how to breathe. "Because," he said, voice rough and raw, "I would burn this entire city down before I let them touch you." The words hung in the air between them. Truth. Confession. Threat. Aria's hands shook. "Dominic, don't!" He got out of the SUV, came around to her side, opened the door. "Just don't." She stepped out into the rain. He was close. Too close. She could feel the heat coming off him, could see the pulse hammering in his throat. "We can't," she started. "I know." "Caleb will, I know." The rain soaked through her clothes. Dominic's hand came up, fingers brushing her jaw, feather light, burning. 9 years, he said. 9 years I've stayed away. Kept my distance. Did everything right. Dominic. And it didn't matter, because you came back, and the second I saw you, I knew. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I knew I was done pretending. Her heart was a wild thing in her chest. Pretending what? That I could ever let you go. Then his mouth was on hers, and the world caught fire. The kiss was desperate, hungry. 9 years of restraint breaking apart in seconds. His hands in her hair, her back against the SUV, the rain pouring down and neither of them caring. She tasted violence and need and something close to madness. When they broke apart, both gasping, Dominic pressed his forehead to hers. "This is a mistake," he said again. "I know. Caleb will never forgive me. I know. You should run, right now. Get as far from me as you can." Aria grabbed his jacket, pulled him closer. "I'm done running." Something broke in his expression, something that looked like relief and ruin all at once. Then he took her hand and led her inside. The house was dark, silent. He moved through it like he owned the shadows. Upstairs, down a hallway, to a door at the end, his bedroom. Aria's pulse was thunder in her ears. This was it. The line. Once they crossed it, there was no going back. Dominic stopped in the doorway, looked at her. "If you want to leave, I don't." "Aria?" "I don't," she said again, stronger. "I stopped wanting to leave the second I saw you." His jaw clenched. "This will destroy everything." "Then let it." For a moment he just stared at her, then he stepped inside, pulling her with him. The door closed, locked, and in the darkness, with the rain hammering against the windows and the city burning somewhere beyond, Aria Vance made a choice she couldn't unmake. She kissed Dominic Rourke like the world was ending. And maybe it was, but she was done pretending she didn't want to watch it burn. Somewhere across the city, in a warehouse that smelled like blood and diesel, a phone rang. The man who answered it smiled. "Did you get her?" A pause, then, "No, Rourke got there first." The smile widened. "Even better." He hung up, looked at the man tied to the chair in front of him, the one bleeding from a dozen shallow cuts, the one who used to work for Caleb Vance. "Looks like we found his weakness after all," he said. Then he picked up the knife again and got back to work. Aria woke to silence, not the comfortable kind, the kind that pressed against her eardrums like a hand over her mouth. She kept her eyes closed, awareness flooding back in fragments. Soft sheets, the smell of rain-soaked wood, an unfamiliar weight across her waist, Dominic's arm. Her eyes opened. Gray morning light filtered through floor-to-ceiling windows, painting his bedroom in shades of steel and shadow. The rain had stopped sometime in the night, leaving the world outside scrubbed clean and gleaming. She turned her head slowly. Dominic was already awake, watching her with an expression she couldn't read. His hair was a mess. There were scratches on his shoulder, her nails, she realized, with a flush of heat. The sheets were tangled around their legs. "Hi," she said. Her voice came out rough. "Hi." They stared at each other. The weight of what they'd done settled over them like fog. Not regret, something heavier, more permanent. "We should talk," Dominic said. I know. Neither of them moved. Then his phone buzzed on the nightstand, once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. The spell broke. Dominic reached for it, face shuddering as he read the screen. What is it? Aria asked. He sat up, the sheets falling to his waist. In the gray light, she could see every scar, every mark of violence written across his skin. Caleb knows you're here. Her stomach dropped. How? Doesn't matter. He's on his way. Shit. She scrambled out of bed, looking for her clothes. They were scattered across the floor, still damp from the rain. Shit. Aria. Dominic caught her wrist. Look at me. She did. His eyes were calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that came before storms. Whatever happens, he said, I'm not apologizing for last night. Dominic, I mean it. I'm done pretending, done hiding. If he wants to put a bullet in me for touching you, then, he shrugged, at least I'll die honest. The words should have scared her. Instead, they made something fierce and reckless unfurl in her chest. He's not going to kill you. You sure about that? No. Dominic's mouth twitched, almost a smile. Then he let go of her wrist and stood, reaching for his clothes. Get dressed. We've got maybe 10 minutes before he gets here. She pulled on her jeans, her shirt. Everything felt wrong. Too tight, too exposed. Her hands shook as she tried to button her jacket. Here. Dominic's fingers brushed hers aside, doing the buttons himself. The intimacy of it, after everything, after last night, made her throat tight. Breathe. I am breathing. You're panicking. There's a difference. He's going to lose his mind. Probably. He told you to stay away from me. I remember. And She gestured helplessly at the bed, at the room, at the disaster they'd created. Dominic's hands settled on her shoulders, solid, steady. I know what I did. I know what it costs. And I'd do it again. Before she could respond, the sound of tires on gravel cut through the silence. Car doors slamming, voices. Caleb was here. Dominic stepped back, his expression going blank, the mask sliding into place. Stay behind me. No. Aria. No. She moved to stand beside him instead. Whatever happens, we face it together. Something flickered in his eyes. Something that looked like pride and pain all tangled up. Then the bedroom door flew open and Caleb stood there, suit rumpled, eyes wild, gun in his hand. He looked at Dominic, at Aria, at the unmade bed behind them. His face went white. Get away from her, he said. His voice was barely above a whisper. Worse than shouting, worse than anything. Dominic didn't move. Caleb, I said get the fuck away from her. Put the gun down. You think I won't use it? Caleb's hand trembled. The gun trembled with it. You think after everything, after I trusted you with my life, with my crew, with... His voice cracked. You think I won't put a bullet in you for this? Aria stepped forward. Caleb, please. Don't. He swung the gun toward her, not aiming, just pointing, desperate. Don't you dare defend him. Don't you dare tell me this isn't what it looks like. I'm not going to lie to you. Then tell me the truth. His eyes were wet, red-rimmed. Tell me you didn't, that he didn't. We did, she said. Simple, brutal. And I'm not sorry. The sound Caleb made was animal. He turned the gun back on Dominic, both hands now, steady. 9 years. 9 years I kept her away from this life. From you. And the second she comes back... The second she came back, Dominic interrupted, voice low and dangerous. Someone tried to kill her. Or did you forget about the Volkovs shooting up her hotel room? I didn't forget shit. I also didn't forget the one fucking rule I gave you. The one thing I asked. Stay away from my sister. She's not a child, Caleb. She's my family. The words exploded out of him. The only real family I've got left. And you... He laughed, sharp and jagged. You were supposed to protect her, not fuck her. Dominic's jaw clenched. I did protect her. I saved her life. And then you took her to bed, real heroic. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Caleb's finger tightened on the trigger. Explain it to me. Make me understand why my best friend, the man I trust more than anyone in this world, Thought it was okay to put his hands on my little sister. Silence. Heavy as a coffin lid. Dominic met Caleb's eyes. Didn't flinch. Because I love her. The words hit the room like a grenade. Aria's breath stopped. Caleb's face went from white to red to white again. What did you just say? He asked. I love her. I've loved her for 9 years, since before she left. Since before... Dominic's voice roughened. I tried to stay away. Did everything you asked, but she came back and I won't pretend anymore. Caleb stared at him, at Aria, back to Dominic. Then he lowered the gun. For a second she thought it was over. Thought maybe he'd heard, understood. Then he punched Dominic in the face. The sound was wet, brutal. Dominic's head snapped back, blood spraying from his nose. He didn't block it, didn't fight back, just took it. Caleb hit him again. Again, fist driving into Dominic's face, his ribs, anywhere he could reach, and Dominic just stood there, arms at his sides, letting it happen. Stop! Aria threw herself between them. Stop it! Caleb's fist stopped inches from her face. He was breathing hard, shaking, blood on his knuckles, Dominic's blood. Move, he said. No. Aria, so help me. I said no. She looked at her brother, really looked, saw the fear beneath the rage, the betrayal, the love that was eating him alive. You want to hit someone, hit me. I'm the one who went to his room. I'm the one who kissed him first. Caleb's expression crumpled. Why? Because I wanted to. Because I've wanted to for 9 years. Because, she swallowed hard. Because I love him too. The confession hung in the air, naked, irreversible. Caleb looked at her like she'd stabbed him. Then he looked at Dominic, still standing there with blood running down his face, eyes locked on Aria like she was the only thing keeping him upright. Get out, Caleb said. Caleb, both of you, get out of my sight before I do something I can't take back. Aria opened her mouth to argue. Dominic's hand closed around her wrist. Come on, he said quietly, but he needs time. Give it to him. She let Dominic lead her out. Down the hallway, down the stairs, out into the morning where the sun was burning through the last of the clouds and the world looked obscenely normal. A black sedan sat in the driveway. 2 men in suits leaning against it, Caleb's crew. They straightened when they saw Dominic, eyes going hard at the sight of his battered face. Boss wants you both gone, one of them said. Not unkind, just factual. Where? Aria asked. Doesn't matter, just not here. Dominic's jaw worked. Then he nodded. Give us a ride to the safe house on Ashland. Which one? The one nobody knows about. The man's eyebrows went up, but he didn't argue, just opened the back door. They drove in silence. Aria watched the city slide past, everything bright and brutal in the morning light. Dominic sat beside her, jaw clenched, blood drying on his face. She wanted to touch him, wanted to say something, but the words stuck in her throat. The safe house was a brownstone in a neighborhood that had seen better days. Dominic unlocked the door with a key from under a loose brick. Inside, it smelled like dust and old wood. Bathroom's upstairs, he said. I'm going to clean up. He disappeared before she could respond. Aria stood in the empty living room, arms wrapped around herself, and tried not to fall apart. This was a disaster. She'd known it would be. Had known the second she stepped into Dominic's room that she was detonating a bomb at the center of her family. And she'd done it anyway. No regrets, she told herself. But the lie tasted bitter. Footsteps on the stairs. Dominic came down with his face clean, nose swollen but not broken. He'd changed into a black t-shirt and jeans from somewhere. He looked exhausted. You okay? She asked. Been worse. That's not an answer. It's the only one I've got. He moved to the window, looking out at the street, checking angles, exits. Always calculating, always 3 moves ahead. It was what made him good at what he did, what kept him alive. Aria crossed the room, stood beside him. I meant what I said, about loving you. His hands curled into fists against the windowsill. I know. Do you regret it? Last night? No? The word was immediate, certain. But I regret what it's doing to him, to you and Caleb. He'll come around. You sure about that? She wasn't, but she said, yes. Dominic turned to look at her then. His eyes were dark, haunted. I've worked for your brother for 9 years, built this empire with him, bled for him, killed for him. He's the closest thing I've got to family. And now, he laughed, bitter. Now I've destroyed that. For one night with you. It wasn't just one night, wasn't it? The question landed like a punch. Aria felt something cold slide down her spine. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe Caleb's right. Maybe maybe it's a mistake. You don't mean that. Don't I? He turned fully to face her. Look at what we've done. Look at the mess we've made. Your brother won't even look at you, won't talk to me. And for what? So we could scratch an itch? So we could... She slapped him. The sound cracked through the room. Dominic's head snapped to the side, cheek reddening. When he looked back, his eyes were wild. Don't, Aria said. Her voice shook with fury. Don't you dare reduce what we did to that. Don't you dare tell me it meant nothing when we... She shoved him. Hard. He barely moved. You said you loved me. I do. Then act like it. Stop trying to protect everyone else and just... Her voice broke. Just fight for this. Fight for me. Dominic stared at her. Then his hands were in her hair, and his mouth was on hers, and he was kissing her like he was drowning, and she was air. Desperate. Consuming. Real. When they broke apart, both gasping, he pressed his forehead to hers. I can't lose you, he said. Not again. Then don't let me go. And Caleb? We'll figure it out. He'll never forgive me. Then we'll live with that too. Dominic pulled back enough to look at her. Really look. Whatever he saw made his expression crack. You're asking me to choose. I'm asking you to choose yourself for once. I don't know how. Learn. His phone buzzed. They both froze. He pulled it out, face going hard as he read the screen. What? Aria asked. Caleb. He wants to meet, tonight, neutral ground. Is that safe? With your brother? No. He typed something back. But I'm going anyway. I'm coming with you. Like hell you are. Dominic, this is between me and him. You stay here. Doors locked. Don't open them for anyone. You can't just... I can, and I am. He grabbed her shoulders. Please, let me try to fix this. She wanted to argue, wanted to fight, but the look on his face stopped her. This was important to him, mattered in a way she didn't fully understand. Fine, she said, but you come back to me. Understand? I will. Promise. I promise. He kissed her once more, soft, lingering. Then he was gone. Aria stood alone in the safe house, listening to the sound of the car pulling away. The silence pressed in. She checked her phone. No messages, no missed calls, nothing. She was halfway to the kitchen when she heard it. A sound, faint, coming from upstairs. Her blood ran cold. Someone was in the house. She grabbed a knife from the kitchen drawer, dull but better than nothing, and moved toward the stairs. Each step creaked under her weight. The sound came again, a shuffle, a breath. The hallway at the top was dark. 3 doors, all closed. If someone's up here, she called out, you've got 3 seconds to show yourself before I call the cops. Silence. Then the middle door opened. A man stepped out. Mid-30s, expensive suit, smile that didn't reach his eyes. He had a gun, pointed right at her. Hello, Aria, he said. Russian accent, thick. We've been looking for you. Her grip tightened on the knife. Who are you? My name is Viktor Volkov, and you and I are going to have a conversation. I don't think so. I wasn't asking. He gestured with the gun. Drop the knife, come downstairs, make this easy. Or what? You shoot me? No. His smile widened. I shoot you in the knee. Then I drag you downstairs and we have our conversation anyway. Your choice. Aria's hand trembled. She thought about fighting, about running, about screaming. None of it would work. He was too calm, too controlled. He'd done this before. She dropped the knife. Good girl. Now move. She walked downstairs on shaking legs. Victor followed close behind, gun trained on her spine. In the living room, 2 more men waited, both armed, both watching her like she was prey. Sit, Victor said, gesturing to a chair. She sat. Her mind raced. Dominic would come back. Eventually, But how long would that take? An hour? 2? How much could happen in 2 hours? Victor pulled up a chair across from her, sat down, crossed his legs like they were having tea. You're probably wondering why we're here. The thought crossed my mind. Smart girl, pretty too. I can see why Rourke is so attached. Her stomach clenched. What do you want? Information about your brother's operation, his suppliers, his routes, his weaknesses. I don't know anything about that. No? Victor tilted his head. Then why did you come back to Chicago? Why did you run straight to Caleb the moment you arrived? He's my brother. And that's all? You expect me to believe you've been away for 9 years and suddenly decided to visit out of nostalgia? Believe what you want. Victor's smile disappeared. I don't have time for games. Your brother killed 3 of my men last month, stole a shipment worth $2 million, and now, he leaned forward, now I hear he's falling apart, drinking too much, making mistakes, all because his little sister came home. That's not, isn't it? Victor pulled out his phone, showed her a photo. Caleb, stumbling out of a bar at 3 a.m., supported by 2 of his guys. He looked wrecked. This was taken last week, before you arrived. Want to see what he looked like 2 days ago? He swiped. Another photo. Caleb, same bar, but worse. Shirt untucked, eyes vacant, a drink in each hand. Aria's throat tightened. Why are you showing me this? Because you're his weakness, and I'm going to use you to destroy him. He won't give you what you want, not for me. Won't he? Victor stood, walked to the window, looked out at the quiet street. A man who calls his sister at 3 a.m, drunk and desperate? A man who pulls his best enforcer off active jobs to babysit her? That doesn't sound like someone who wouldn't trade the world to get her back. You're wrong. We'll see. He turned, nodded to one of his men. Tie her up. We're moving her. Where? Somewhere your brother and Rourke will come looking, and when they do, he smiled. We'll be waiting. The man approached with zip ties. Aria's mind screamed at her to move, to fight, to do something, but there were 3 of them and 1 of her, and they had guns and she had nothing. The zip ties bit into her wrists, too tight, cutting off circulation. Let's go, Victor said. They hauled her to her feet, pushed her toward the door. Outside, a black van waited, back doors open. She thought about screaming, thought about running. Then Victor pressed the gun against her ribs. Don't, he said softly. I'd hate to damage the merchandise. They threw her in the van. The doors slammed shut. Darkness. The engine started. The van moved. Aria pressed her back against the cold metal wall and tried to breathe. Tried to think. Dominic was meeting Caleb. They didn't know she was gone. Wouldn't know until it was too late. She was on her own. The van drove for what felt like hours. Could have been 20 minutes. Time bent and stretched in the dark. When they finally stopped, the doors opened to reveal a warehouse. Concrete. Rust. The smell of oil and rot. They dragged her inside, tied her to a chair in the middle of the empty space. Victor stood in front of her, checking his watch. You should be getting the message right about now, he said. What message? Victor showed her his phone. A photo of her tied to the chair, bruised and terrified. The text below read, You have 24 hours. Come alone, or she dies. Who did you send that to? Aria asked, but she already knew. Both of them, your brother and his pet killer. Victor pocketed the phone. Now we wait. They won't come. They will. And when they do, I'll have everything I need. He walked away, leaving her alone in the dark. Aria tested the ropes. No give. The zip ties were cutting into her wrists, blood trickling down her palms. She tried to stay calm, tried to think. Dominic would come. She knew he would. The question was whether he'd walk into a trap he couldn't escape. The warehouse door opened again. Footsteps. Multiple sets. Victor's voice. Right on schedule. Then another voice, familiar, cold. Where is she? Caleb. Aria's heart lurched. No, not yet. It was too soon. They weren't ready. Let me see her first, Caleb said. Then we talk. You're not in a position to make demands. And you're not in a position to keep me from killing everyone in this building if you don't show me my sister. Now. Silence. Then Victor laughed. Fine, come see. Footsteps approached. Caleb appeared, flanked by Victor's men. He looked like hell, unshaven, eyes bloodshot, but when he saw her, something in his face cracked. Aria. I'm okay, she said. Her voice came out stronger than she felt. I'm okay. He crossed to her in 3 strides, knelt down. His hand shook as he checked her over. Did they hurt you? No, not yet. Caleb's jaw clenched. He looked up at Victor. Let her go. Not until we have an agreement. What kind of agreement? Your territory, your suppliers, your routes, everything. In exchange, she walks out of here alive. Caleb stood slowly. When he turned to face Victor, his expression was blank, empty, the most dangerous look Aria had ever seen on him. And if I refuse? He asked. Victor shrugged. Then I start taking pieces of her, fingers first, then toes. Then, the gunshot was deafening. Victor's head snapped back. Blood sprayed. He hit the ground hard, eyes wide and empty. Caleb lowered the gun, looked at the other men in the warehouse. Anyone else? They ran. Smart. Caleb holstered the weapon and moved back to Aria, cutting through the zip ties with a knife from his pocket. She gasped as blood rushed back into her hands. He caught her when she stumbled. I've got you, he said. I've got you. Caleb, later. We need to move. Now. He half carried her toward the exit. They were almost there when the side door burst open and 6 men poured in. More Volkovs. Armed to the teeth, Caleb shoved Aria behind him, raised his gun. Stay down, he said. Then the world exploded into gunfire and chaos. Caleb moved like a machine. 1 shot. 1 body. Another shot. Another body. But there were too many. He took a bullet to the shoulder, spun, kept firing. Aria screamed his name. Then another gunshot, different caliber, different direction, and one of the Volkovs dropped. Then another. Then another. Dominic appeared in the doorway like an avenging angel, gun in each hand, face splattered with blood that wasn't his. He didn't stop, didn't slow, just kept firing until the warehouse went silent. 11 bodies, 2 men standing. Dominic's eyes found Aria, scanned her head to toe. You hurt? No. He looked at Caleb, at the blood soaking through his suit jacket. You? I'll live. They stared at each other. 2 killers. 2 men who'd just walked through hell for the same woman. We need to go, Dominic said. More will come. Caleb nodded, looked at Aria. Can you walk? Yes. They moved together, out of the warehouse into the night. Dominic's car idled at the curb, engine running. They piled in. He drove. No one spoke. Aria sat in the back, watching her brother and the man she loved exist in the same space, breathing the same air, covered in the same blood. And she knew, with a certainty that settled into her bones, that nothing would ever be the same. They'd crossed a line tonight, all of them, and there was no going back. Dominic pulled into the parking garage of a building Aria didn't recognize. They got out, took an elevator to the 15th floor. He unlocked a door to an apartment that was clearly his, all sharp edges and dark furniture and windows overlooking the city. Caleb collapsed onto the couch. Aria grabbed a first aid kit from the bathroom and started working on his shoulder. The bullet had gone clean through. Lucky. You shouldn't have come, she said quietly. Like hell. You walked right into their trap. So did he. Caleb nodded at Dominic, who stood by the window staring out at nothing. Guess we're both idiots. Aria's hand stilled. Caleb, I know what you're going to say, that you're not worth dying for, that we should have let them have you, that... His voice cracked. Don't. Just don't. She finished bandaging his shoulder in silence. When she was done, Caleb caught her hand. I'm sorry, he said. For what? For not listening, for pushing you away, for... He looked at Dominic. For thinking I could control who you love. Dominic turned from the window. His expression was unreadable. I don't forgive you, Caleb continued, speaking directly to him now. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But tonight, he swallowed hard. Tonight you saved her life, and that counts for something. I'd do it again, Dominic said simply. I know. That's the problem. Caleb stood, wincing. I need to make some calls, clean this up, figure out how many Volkovs are left and where they're hiding. I'll help, Dominic offered. No, Caleb's voice was firm. You stay here. Keep her safe. That's all I'm asking. He left without another word. The door clicked shut. Aria and Dominic stood in the silence, the weight of everything pressing down. We should talk, she said. I know. About what happens now. Dominic crossed the room, pulled her into his arms, held her like she was the only thing keeping him from falling apart. What happens now, he said into her hair, is we survive, together, and deal with the rest as it comes. And Caleb? We give him time, space, hope he... His phone buzzed. He pulled it out, expression darkening as he read. What? Aria asked. He showed her the screen. A message from an unknown number. A photo attached. Caleb, walking into the building where they'd just been. The timestamp, 3 minutes ago. The text below. He came alone. Mistake. Aria's blood turned to ice. No, he just left. He can't be... Another photo loaded. Caleb, surrounded by armed men, on his knees, gun to his head. Then a final message. You have 1 hour. Bring the girl, or we kill him slow. Dominic's hands shook. It's a trap. I don't care. Aria, he's my brother. I'm not letting him die for me. If we walk in there, then we walk in there. She grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. Together, like you said. We survive together, or we don't survive at all. For a moment, Dominic just stared at her. Then something shifted in his expression. Something that looked like acceptance and resignation all tangled up. Okay, he said. Okay? Okay? He kissed her. Hard, desperate. But we do this my way. Understand? What's your way? His smile was all teeth and violence. We burn their whole fucking operation to the ground. Dominic's apartment became a war room in minutes. He pulled weapons from places Aria didn't know existed, under floorboards, behind false panels, inside hollowed-out books. Guns, knives, enough ammunition to start a small war, which, she supposed, was exactly what they were about to do. We go in from 2 sides, Dominic said, laying out a blueprint on the kitchen table. His hands moved with clinical precision, marking entry points, exit routes, kill zones. You take the east entrance. I'll come through the loading dock. We synchronize watches, hit them at exactly... No, Aria interrupted. He looked up. No? I'm not splitting up. Not after what just happened. Aria, this only works if we divide their attention. If we both go in the same way, then we both go in the same way. She crossed her arms. I'm not letting you walk into another trap alone. I've been doing this for 15 years. I know how to handle myself. So did Caleb. Look where that got him. Dominic's jaw clenched. He stared at the blueprint like it held answers it didn't have. Then he swept it off the table with one violent motion. Paper scattered. The gun he'd been cleaning clattered to the floor. Fuck. He braced his hands on the table edge, head down, breathing hard. Fuck. Aria moved to him, put her hand on his back. Felt the tension coiled beneath his skin. We'll get him back. You don't know that. I know you. I know what you're capable of. He turned. His eyes were wild, desperate. What I'm capable of is getting people killed. Your brother trusted me to keep you safe, and I... His voice cracked. I brought you right to them, led them straight to the safe house. This is my fault. How could you have known? I should have checked, should have swept the place, should have... He slammed his fist into the wall. Plaster cracked. His knuckles came away bloody. I'm supposed to be better than this. Dominic, no. He pulled away from her touch. No, you don't get it. In this world, one mistake is all it takes. One slip, one moment of distraction, and people die. Good people. People who... He looked at her. Really looked. I can't lose you. I can't lose him. And right now I'm about to walk into a building where I'll probably lose both. The honesty of it gutted her. Aria grabbed his face, forced him to hold her gaze. Then we don't walk in. We burn it down from the outside. What? You said we burn their operation to the ground, so let's do it, literally. We don't go in. We smoke them out. Dominic's eyes widened. Then something shifted in his expression, something dangerous and brilliant. The warehouse. It's old, probably not up to code, and they're using it to store... He stopped, started pulling up files on his phone. Give me a second. He scrolled through what looked like surveillance photos, building layouts, inventory lists. His face went hard. What? Aria asked. They're storing acetone, 50-gallon drums of it, industrial solvent. Is that bad? It's extremely flammable. If we could get to it, create a spark... He looked at her. The whole place would go up. They'd have maybe 2 minutes to evacuate before the fire spread. And Caleb? If he's smart, he'll head for the exits with everyone else. We grab him in the chaos. And if he's not smart? Dominic's expression darkened. Then we go in after him. It was a terrible plan. Reckless. Likely to get them all killed. Aria should have said no. Should have insisted on something safer, saner, less likely to end with them burning to death in a collapsing warehouse. Instead, she said, how do we start the fire? They spent the next 40 minutes planning. Dominic had a contact who could get them thermite grenades, military grade, designed to burn through steel. They'd plant them near the acetone storage, set timers, and be gone before the first spark caught. Simple. Clean. Except nothing in this life was ever simple or clean. The drive to the warehouse took 20 minutes. Dominic drove in silence, jaw tight, eyes checking mirrors every few seconds. Aria loaded magazines, checked safeties, tried not to think about all the ways this could go wrong. If something happens to me, Dominic said suddenly, you run. Don't look back. Don't try to save me. Just run. Not happening. Aria. I said not happening. She slammed a magazine into place. We started this together. We end it together. Those are the rules. There are no rules in war. Then make some. He glanced at her. Something in his expression softened. You're insane. I learned from the best. They parked 3 blocks away, approached on foot using alleys and shadows. The warehouse loomed ahead, all broken windows and rusted metal. 2 guards at the front entrance. More inside, probably. Aria's heart hammered against her ribs. Dominic handed her a thermite grenade. You know how to set the timer? Twist, click, run like hell. Close enough. He checked his watch. We've got 43 minutes before they kill Caleb. We plant these, get clear, wait for the fire. Then we move in during the evacuation. Understood? Understood? They circled to the east side of the building, found a broken window low enough to climb through. Dominic went first, gun drawn, scanning the darkness. Aria followed, landing on concrete that was slick with something she didn't want to identify. The acetone drums were exactly where Dominic's intel said they'd be. 50-gallon containers stacked 3 high, warning stamped across them in faded red letters. Aria set her grenade at the base of the stack, twisted the timer to 3 minutes, clicked it active. A small green light blinked to life. Dominic set his 30 feet away, creating a wider blast radius. When both were armed, he grabbed her hand and they ran. Back through the window, down the alley, around the corner. They crouched behind a dumpster, breathing hard, waiting. 2 minutes. Aria's hands shook. She pressed them against her thighs. 1 minute. Dominic's phone buzzed. He pulled it out, face going white. What? Aria whispered. He showed her. A video. Caleb, tied to a chair, face beaten bloody. A man standing behind him, older, gray-haired, expensive suit. Russian accent when he spoke. Mr. Rourke, Miss Vance, I assume you've received my messages, and I assume you're planning something very stupid right now. The man smiled. Let me save you the trouble. The camera panned, showed the warehouse interior, the acetone drums, the 2 thermite grenades, green lights blinking. Aria's stomach dropped. Did you really think we wouldn't check the building? The man continued. Did you think we were amateurs? He walked to the nearest grenade, picked it up. Nice work. Military grade. Very expensive. Very deadly. He showed it to Caleb. Your sister and your best friend tried to burn us alive. What do you think about that? Caleb's response was too quiet to hear. The man laughed. He says he's not surprised, that you're both idiots with death wishes. He set the grenade down carefully. Here's what's going to happen. You have 10 minutes to get inside this building and surrender, both of you, unarmed, or I shoot your brother in the head and leave his body for the rats. Your choice. The video ended. Aria stared at the blank screen. at Dominic's face, which had gone completely expressionless, the kind of blank that meant he was calculating, planning, preparing to do something insane. "We can't go in there," she said. "I know. They'll kill all three of us." "I know. So what do we do?" Dominic was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "We call someone who scares them more than we do." "Who the hell would that be?" He made a phone call. It rang twice before someone picked up. A woman's voice, cold and clipped. "This is a secure line. How did you get this number?" "It's Dominic Rourke. I need to speak to Vincent Castellano." Silence. Then, "Mr. Castellano doesn't take calls from—" "Tell him Caleb Vance is about to die. And if he does, the truce between the Irish and the Italians dies with him. He'll want to know." More silence, then hold music. Aria stared at him. "The Italians? You're calling the Italians?" "Vincent Castellano runs the South Side. He and Caleb have a non-aggression pact. The Volkovs have been pushing into Italian territory for months. If they take out Caleb, Vincent knows he's next." "And you think he'll help us?" "I think he'll help himself, which right now amounts to the same thing." The hold music cut off. A man's voice came through, smooth as silk over razors. "Rourke, I heard you had a problem. The Volkovs have Caleb. They're going to execute him in—" Dominic checked his watch. 8 minutes, unless we give ourselves up. "And you're calling me because—" "Because this is the opening move in a war. You know it. I know it. They take out Caleb, consolidate his territory, then they come for you. Unless we stop them tonight." Vincent was quiet. Then, "What do you need?" "Men, guns, a distraction big enough to get us inside." "That's a lot to ask. And Caleb's death is a lot to risk." More silence. Aria could hear her own heartbeat, could feel Dominic's tension like a physical thing. "You have 5 minutes, Vincent said finally. "My men are already in position. We've been watching the Volkovs for weeks. When I give the signal, they'll hit the north and west entrances. You go in from the south. Get Caleb. Get out. And Rourke? Yeah? You owe me. Big." The line went dead. Dominic looked at Aria. "Can you shoot?" "Yes." "Can you kill?" The question hung between them. Heavy. Irreversible. Aria thought about Caleb tied to that chair, about the man pressing a gun to his head, about the choice she'd made 9 years ago to run from this life, and the choice she was making now to run straight back into it. "Yes," she said. Dominic handed her a gun. "Safety's here, 15 rounds. Aim center mass. Don't hesitate. Don't think. Just pull the trigger." She took the weapon. It was heavier than she expected, colder. "If this goes wrong," he started. "It won't. If it does, then we die together. I'm at peace with that." He looked at her like she'd just said something profound and heartbreaking. Then he kissed her, hard, desperate, like it might be the last time. When he pulled back, his eyes were clear. "Let's go get your brother." The gunfire started exactly 4 minutes later. Automatic weapons fire erupted from the north side of the warehouse, shouting, screaming, the sound of men dying. Dominic and Aria used the chaos to slip in through a side door, moving through darkness and smoke. The interior was a maze of shipping containers and crates. They moved fast, guns up, checking corners. The firefight was getting closer, louder. Then Aria saw him, Caleb, still tied to the chair, still alive. The gray-haired Russian standing over him, gun pressed to his temple, using him as a shield while his men returned fire at the Italians. "Drop your weapons," the Russian shouted, "or I kill him!" The shooting slowed, stopped. Dominic stepped out from behind a container, hands raised, gun hanging loose from one finger. "Let him go, Mikhail," he said. So that was his name, Mikhail. The man smiled. "Dominic Rourke, the great enforcer. I've heard so much about you." "Then you know how this ends." "Do I?" "Because from where I'm standing, I have all the leverage. Your boss is about to die. The woman you love is about to watch. And you," he cocked the gun, "you're about to learn what happens when you fuck with the Volkov family." "Last chance," Dominic said. His voice was calm, too calm. "Let him go." "Or what?" Dominic's eyes cut to Aria. just for a second, and in that second she understood. She dove left. Dominic dove right. Mikhail's gun tracked toward Aria, and in that split second of distraction, Dominic fired. The bullet took Mikhail in the shoulder. He spun, fired back. The shot went wide. Then Caleb moved. Still tied to the chair, he threw himself backward, slamming into Mikhail's legs. The Russian stumbled, fell. His gun skittered across the concrete. Aria was already moving. She grabbed the weapon, came up firing. 1 shot, 2, 3. Center mass, like Dominic taught her. Mikhail went down. Silence. Then Caleb's voice, rough and strained. "Someone want to untie me?" Dominic was already there, cutting through the ropes with a knife. Caleb stood on shaking legs, face bruised, one eye swollen shut. He looked at Aria, at the gun in her hand, at the bodies around them. "You good?" he asked. "No," she said honestly. "But I'm alive. Good enough." He turned to Dominic. "The Italians?" "Vincent. He owed us. Now we owe him." "Yep." Caleb nodded, swayed. Dominic caught him. "Easy. You took a beating." "I'm fine." "You're bleeding from your ear. That's not fine." "I said—" Caleb stopped, stared past them. His face went white. "Down!" They hit the ground as gunfire erupted. Not from the Italians. From behind them. From the shipping containers they'd already cleared. More Volkovs. At least 6. They'd been waiting. Hiding. It was an ambush inside an ambush. Dominic returned fire, pulling Caleb behind a crate. Aria scrambled for cover, bullets punching through metal inches from her head. This was different from before. More chaotic, more desperate. She leaned out, fired blindly, heard someone scream, ducked back as return fire shredded her cover. "We need to move," Dominic shouted. "East exit. Go!" They ran. Bullets chased them. Something hot grazed Aria's arm and she gasped, but didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Through a doorway. Down a corridor. Behind them, footsteps. Shouting in Russian. They burst out into the loading dock. 3 more Volkovs waiting. Guns raised. Time slowed. Aria saw it happening. Saw Dominic's eyes widen. Saw Caleb trying to push her behind him. Saw the fingers tightening on triggers. Then the entire warehouse shook. The thermite grenades. They'd finally gone off. Fire bloomed in the interior. Orange and white, and so bright it hurt. The heat wave slammed into them like a physical thing. The Volkovs turned, distracted, and Dominic used the moment. 3 shots. 3 bodies. "Move!" he screamed. They ran into the night. Behind them the warehouse was an inferno, flames licking into the sky. The acetone had caught. The whole thing was going up. They made it 50 yards before the first explosion, then the second. The building collapsed inward, taking everything with it. Aria's legs gave out. She hit the pavement hard, ears ringing. Dominic was pulling her up, saying something she couldn't hear. Caleb was there too, leaning on them both. They stumbled to the car, piled in. Dominic drove. No one spoke for 5 blocks. Then Caleb started laughing. It was a broken sound, jagged, wrong. But it was laughter. "We're alive," he said. "We're actually fucking alive." "For now," Dominic muttered. Pessimist. Realist. Aria pressed her forehead against the window, watched the city slide past. Her arm throbbed where the bullet had grazed it. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She'd killed someone tonight. Maybe more than one. She couldn't remember, couldn't think straight. Dominic's hand found hers, squeezed. She squeezed back. They drove to another safe house. This one was in the suburbs. Quiet neighborhood, normal-looking house. The last place anyone would look for them. Inside, Caleb collapsed onto a couch. Aria found a first aid kit and started cleaning his wounds. He hissed when she touched his ribs. "Broken?" she asked. "Probably. I'll live." She wrapped them as best she could. Dominic paced by the window, phone to his ear, talking in low tones to someone about cleanup and bodies and making problems disappear. When he hung up, Caleb looked at him. "We need to talk." "I know." "Not later, now." Dominic nodded, sat down across from him. The air in the room went tight. "What you did tonight," Caleb said slowly, calling Vincent, bringing in the Italians, that was smart. Probably the only reason I'm alive. But you also led them to Aria. Put her in danger. Made her a target. I know. Do you? Caleb's voice sharpened. Because from where I'm sitting, you're the common denominator in every disaster that's hit us in the last 48 hours. The hotel, the safe house, the warehouse. Every time they knew where to find us. Every time they were waiting. Aria's blood ran cold. Caleb, what are you saying? I'm saying maybe it's not a coincidence. Dominic went very still. You think I'm working with them? I think someone is. And you're the only one who knew all our locations. That's insane. Is it? Caleb leaned forward. Tell me this. How did they find the safe house on Ashland? The one nobody knows about except you and me? I don't know. Try harder. I said I don't know. Then how the fuck did they know exactly when to hit us? How did Mikhail know about the thermite grenades? How did they have men positioned in places we'd already cleared? Silence. Terrible and heavy. Aria looked at Dominic, at the expression on his face. He looked gutted, betrayed. You really think I'd sell you out? He asked quietly. I don't know what to think anymore. I've bled for you, killed for you. I just walked into a burning building to save your life. And before that, you fucked my sister after I explicitly told you not to. So forgive me if I'm questioning your loyalty. The words landed like bullets. Dominic flinched, stood, walked to the door. Where are you going? Aria asked. Anywhere but here. Dominic? He stopped, turned, looked at Caleb. I'm not the rat. But you're right about one thing. Someone is. And I'm going to find them. Then I'm going to kill them. And when I do... His voice went hard. You're going to apologize for every word you just said. He left. The door slammed behind him. Aria stared at her brother. What the hell was that? The truth. That wasn't truth. That was paranoia. Is it? Think about it, Aria. Really think. Every single time we've moved, they've been one step ahead. How is that possible unless someone on the inside is feeding them information? It's not Dominic. How do you know? Because I know him. You've known him for 2 days? I've known him for 9 years. And right now, I don't know what to believe. Aria's hands curled into fists. He loves me. Or he's using you. Fuck you. Caleb stood, winced. His ribs were worse than he was letting on. I'm trying to keep you alive. By accusing the only person who's actually kept me alive? That's your plan? My plan is to find the rat and put them down before they get us all killed. And if you're wrong about Dominic, then I'll apologize. But if I'm right, he looked at her, really looked. If I'm right, you need to prepare yourself for what comes next. Which is what? War. Real war. The kind where nobody wins and everyone bleeds. He walked out, left her standing alone in the safe house with blood on her hands and doubt in her heart. Aria sank onto the couch, put her head in her hands, tried to breathe. This was falling apart. All of it, faster than she could catch it. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She stared at it. Every instinct screamed not to answer, but something else. Curiosity, desperation, the need to understand made her pick up. Hello? Aria Vance. A woman's voice. Smooth, familiar. We need to talk. Who is this? Someone who knows what really happened tonight. Someone who knows who the rat is. Aria's heart hammered. Tell me. Not over the phone. Meet me. 1 hour. The address I'm sending will take you to neutral ground. Come alone. Come unarmed. And Aria? The woman paused. Don't tell your brother. Don't tell Dominic. If you do, you'll never learn the truth. How do I know this isn't a trap? You don't. But you're going to come anyway. Because you need to know if the man you love is a liar. Or if your brother is losing his mind. The line went dead. A text came through. An address. North Side, Industrial District. Aria stared at it. This was stupid. Reckless. Everything Dominic had taught her not to do. She grabbed her jacket and walked out the door. The address led to an abandoned factory. Graffiti on the walls. Broken windows. The kind of place where bad things happened and nobody asked questions. Aria approached slowly, hands visible, no weapons. The door was unlocked. She pushed through into darkness. Hello? Her voice echoed. Lights snapped on. Harsh, blinding. She threw up a hand, squinting. When her eyes adjusted, she saw her. A woman, mid-30s, dark hair, expensive suit, standing in the center of the empty space like she owned it. "Thank you for coming," the woman said. "Who are you?" "My name is Elena Volkov." Aria's blood turned to ice. "Volkov, you're Mikhail's daughter." "Yes," Elena smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "And before you run, know that I'm the only thing standing between your family and complete annihilation." "I don't understand." "You will." Elena pulled out a tablet, tapped the screen, held it up. Photos, dozens of them. Dominic meeting with men. Aria didn't recognize. Money changing hands, documents being passed, time stamps going back months. "What is this?" Aria whispered. "Proof. Your boyfriend has been selling information to my family for the better part of a year." "That's not possible." "Isn't it? How do you think we knew about the hotel? The safe house? The warehouse?" Elena's smile widened. "Dominic Rourke gave us everything. Locations, security details, Caleb's entire operation. He's been our inside man since last summer." Aria's legs felt weak. "Why?" "Money, power, the usual reasons men betray each other." "No, I don't believe you." "Then believe this." Elena tapped the screen again. A video played. Dominic, sitting across from Mikhail, talking, laughing, shaking hands. The timestamp read 3 weeks ago. "This is fake," Aria said, but her voice shook. "Is it? Or is it the truth you've been running from?" "Why are you showing me this?" "Because I want to make a deal." Elena pocketed the tablet. "My father is dead. Your brother killed him. By rights, I should be planning your funerals right now. But I'm a businesswoman. Revenge is expensive. War is expensive. I'd rather we reached an understanding." "What kind of understanding?" "You give me Dominic Rourke. I give you proof of his betrayal. Your brother gets justice. My family gets blood. Everyone walks away satisfied." Aria's mind reeled. "And if I refuse?" "Then I release this information to Caleb myself, along with evidence that you've been protecting Dominic, hiding what you knew. And when your brother realizes you chose a traitor over family..." Elena shrugged. "Well, I don't think that ends well for anyone. You're lying." "Am I?" "Then walk away. Go back to your safe house. Tell Dominic what I showed you. See what he says. See if he denies it. Or..." Her eyes glittered. "See if he confirms every nightmare your brother's been having." Aria backed toward the door. Her whole body shook. This wasn't real. Couldn't be real. But the photos, the video, the timestamps. "You have 24 hours, Elena called after her. "After that, I go to Caleb, and you lose everything." Aria ran. Out of the factory, into the night. She didn't stop until she reached her car. Then she sat behind the wheel, shaking so hard her teeth chattered. Her phone rang. Dominic. She stared at his name on the screen, at the man she'd trusted, loved, given everything to. Was he a liar, or was Elena? Her finger hovered over the answer button. Then she put the phone down and drove into the darkness, with no idea who to trust and nowhere left to. Aria drove until the city lights blurred into streaks of neon and rage. Her hands gripped the steering wheel so hard her knuckles went white. The tablet Elena had shown her, those photos, that video, played on repeat in her mind. Dominic shaking Mikhail's hand, Dominic laughing, Dominic betraying everything. Or was it all a lie? She pulled into an empty parking lot, killed the engine, sat in the silence and tried to breathe. Her phone buzzed again. Dominic. 5th time in 10 minutes. This time she answered, "Where are you?" His voice was sharp, worried. "Driving." "Driving where? Aria, you can't just... Did you betray us?" Silence. Long enough to make her stomach drop. "What are you talking about?" he asked finally. "I'm talking about you meeting with Mikhail Volkov. I'm talking about you selling information. I'm talking about..." Her voice cracked. "I'm talking about you being the reason they keep finding us." "Who told you that?" "Does it matter?" "Yes, it fucking matters. Tell me who..." "Elena Volkov. She had photos, video, timestamps going back months. She showed me everything." Another pause. Then Dominic's voice came through, low and dangerous. And you believed her? I don't know what to believe anymore. Aria, listen to me very carefully. Elena is playing you. Whatever she showed you, whatever she said, it's a setup. She's trying to turn you against me so we'll destroy each other from the inside. The photos looked real. They can fake anything, you know that. The video looked real too. Where are you? He demanded. Tell me where you are right now. Why? So you can send your Russian friends to pick me up? Stop it. Stop talking like that. You know me. You know I would never. Do I? The words burst out of her. I've known you for 2 days, Dominic. 2 days of chaos and gunfire and you telling me you love me. But before that? 9 years of nothing. 9 years where I don't know what you were doing or who you were meeting with, or I was staying away from you like your brother asked, like I promised. Or you were building a second empire with the Volkovs. The sound he made was animal, wounded. If you really believe that, then we're already done. If you think I'm capable of selling you out, of putting you in danger, of... He stopped, breathed. Then you never knew me at all. Aria's eyes burned. Prove it. How? Meet me. Tomorrow night. The old pier on the South Docks, 7 o'clock. Just you. No weapons, no backup. We talk this through face to face. That's a terrible idea. It's the only idea I've got left. More silence. Then, quietly, okay, 7 o'clock, South Docks. I'll be there. Alone? Alone. The line went dead. Aria sat in the dark car and shook. She'd just set a trap for the man she loved, or she'd given a traitor exactly what he wanted. Either way, tomorrow night would end in blood. She drove back to the safe house. Caleb was still awake, sitting in the dark with a glass of whiskey and a gun on the coffee table. He looked up when she walked in. Where were you? He asked, thinking. About? Whether you're right, about Dominic. Caleb's expression didn't change. And? And I'm going to find out, tomorrow night, South Docks. He's meeting me there. Alone? That's what he said. And you believe him? Aria sat down across from him, picked up his glass, drained it. The whiskey burned all the way down. I don't know what I believe anymore, but I need to look him in the eye and ask him. I need to know if the last 2 days were real or if I've been sleeping with a liar. Caleb watched her with an expression she couldn't read. Then he said, I'm coming with you. No. Aria, no. This is between me and him. If he sees you, he'll think it's an ambush. He'll run, and we'll never know the truth. And if it is a trap, if he shows up with half the Volkov crew, then I guess I'll die knowing I was an idiot. She met her brother's eyes. But at least I'll die knowing, not wondering. Caleb shook his head, poured himself another drink. You're insane. I learned from the best. He almost smiled, then his face went serious. If he hurt you, if he's been lying this whole time, then I'll kill him myself. The words hung in the air. True. Final. Caleb nodded. Fair enough. They sat in silence for a long time. Then Aria stood, walked to the bathroom, looked at herself in the mirror. She had blood under her fingernails, a bruise forming on her cheek. Her eyes looked hollow. She didn't recognize the woman staring back. 2 days ago, she'd been a grad student. Safe? Normal? Boring. Now she was something else, something harder. Something that could kill without hesitation and sleep without nightmares. She wasn't sure if that was growth or damage. Maybe both. The next day crawled by like a death march. Aria cleaned weapons she didn't know how to use, made coffee she didn't drink. Paced the safe house until Caleb told her to sit down before she wore a hole in the floor. At 6 o'clock, she got dressed. Jeans, black shirt, leather jacket. She tucked a knife into her boot, just in case. Caleb watched from the doorway. You're armed. I said no guns. Didn't say anything about knives. Smart girl. He crossed to her, pulled her into a hug that felt like goodbye. If anything goes wrong, it won't. If it does, he continued, you run. You hear me? You don't try to fight. You don't try to save him. You just run. Okay. I mean it, Aria. I know. He pulled back, looked at her. His eyes were wet. I love you. You know that, right? I know. Even when I'm an asshole, even when I say things I don't mean, You're the only family I've got left, the only thing in this world that matters. I love you too. She touched his face. And I'm going to fix this. I'm going to find out who the rat is, and I'm going to end this. I promise. She left before he could respond. The drive to the South Docks took 30 minutes. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of blood and fire. Appropriate, she thought. The old pier was abandoned, condemned years ago. Wooden planks rotted and splintered. The water below was black as oil. Perfect place for a meeting. Perfect place for a murder. Aria parked and walked out onto the pier. Her boots echoed on the wood. The wind coming off the lake cut through her jacket. 7 o'clock came and went. 7:15. 7:30. He wasn't coming. Then she heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Dominic emerged from the shadows at the far end of the pier. No weapons visible. Hands in his pockets. He looked exhausted, haunted. They stood 50 feet apart. You came, Aria said. I said I would. Alone? Check for yourself. She did, scanned the area, the parking lot, the buildings. Nothing. Just them and the dying light. Satisfied? Dominic asked. Not yet. He walked closer, stopped 10 feet away. Close enough to talk. Far enough to run if she needed to. You wanted to talk, he said. So talk. Did you sell us out to the Volkovs? No. Did you meet with Mikhail? His jaw clenched. Yes. The word hit her like a fist. When? 3 weeks ago, he reached out, said he had information about a rat in Caleb's organization. I went to hear him out. And he was full of shit, trying to plant seeds of doubt, trying to get me to turn on Caleb. I told him to go to hell, and I left. That's it? That's it. Then why didn't you tell Caleb? Because I was handling it. Because I didn't want to worry him with shadows and ghosts. Because Dominic stopped, breathed. Because I thought I could protect him from the truth. What truth? That someone in his crew was working with the Volkovs. Someone close. I didn't know who, but I knew they were there. Aria stared at him. Why should I believe you? Because I'm standing here, unarmed, alone, telling you the truth even though I know it makes me look guilty as hell. He took a step closer. Because I love you. And I'm done lying, done hiding. If you want to walk away, if you want to put a bullet in me, I won't stop you. But I'm not going to stand here and let you believe I betrayed you. Elena has evidence, photos, video, faked, all of it. She's good. Her whole family is good at making lies look like truth. That's how they've survived this long. How do I know you're not lying right now? You don't. He spread his arms. That's the thing about trust, Aria. It's a choice. You either make it or you don't. And right now, you have to choose. Do you trust me? Or do you trust the daughter of the man we killed yesterday? She wanted to trust him, wanted it so badly it hurt. But doubt was a poison, and it had already seeped into her veins. I don't know, she whispered. Dominic's face crumpled. Then we're done. Wait. No. I'm not doing this. I'm not spending the rest of my life trying to prove I'm not a traitor. Either you believe me or you don't. Choose. Aria's hands trembled. Behind her she heard it, the sound of cars, multiple engines, tires on gravel. Dominic heard it too. His eyes went wide. Aria, what did you do? Nothing. I came alone, I swear. Headlights cut through the darkness. 3 cars, black SUVs. They screeched to a stop in the parking lot. Doors opened. Men poured out. Russians, at least a dozen, all armed. Elena Volkov stepped out of the lead vehicle, smiled. Thank you for making this so easy, she called out. Aria's blood turned to ice. I didn't bring them here. I know. Dominic grabbed her arm. She's been tracking you, probably since last night, used you to lead them to me. I'm sorry. Later, right now, we run. They ran, off the pier, toward the water. Behind them, gunfire erupted. Bullets punched through wood. Aria's boot caught on a loose plank, and she went down hard. Dominic hauled her up. Keep moving. They hit the edge of the pier and jumped. The water was freezing, black. Aria went under, the cold shocking the air from her lungs. She kicked hard, broke the surface, gasping. Dominic was already pulling her toward a ladder on the far pylon. They climbed, water streaming off them. Above, the Russians were spreading out, searching. "There!" someone shouted. More gunfire. The pylon exploded in splinters. Dominic shoved Aria behind it. "We're trapped," she said. "Not yet." He pulled out his phone. Waterlogged but still working. Sent a text. Put it away. "Who did you text?" "Caleb." "I thought you came alone." "I did. But I'm not an idiot." He looked at her. "You really thought I'd walk into this without backup nearby?" Despite everything, the cold, the fear, the guns, Aria almost laughed. "You sneaky bastard." "I learned from the best." Headlights appeared on the far side of the lot. More cars. But these were different. These were Caleb's. The Russians turned, confused, outnumbered now. Elena's voice cut through the chaos. "Fall back! Fall back!" The Volkovs retreated to their vehicles. Peeled out. Gone in seconds. Caleb's car pulled up to the pier. He got out, gun drawn, scanning for threats. When he saw them, soaked, shivering, alive, his face did something complicated. "You good?" he called. "Been better," Dominic called back. "Get in. We're leaving." They climbed back up, collapsed in the back of Caleb's car. Someone threw blankets over them. The heat was on full blast, but Aria couldn't stop shaking. Caleb turned in the driver's seat, looked at Dominic. "We need to talk." "I know." "About the Mikhail meeting. About why you didn't tell me." "I was trying to protect you." "From what?" Dominic met his eyes. "From the truth about who the rat is." The car went silent. "You know who it is," Caleb said. "Not a question." "I've suspected for a week. Confirmed it this morning." "Who?" Dominic pulled out his phone. Water damaged, but the photos were still there. He handed it to Caleb. Caleb looked at the screen. His face went white, then red, then white again. "No," he said. "I'm sorry." "No, that's not... It can't be. I have bank records, wire transfers, phone logs. It's all there." Caleb stared at the phone like it was a snake. Then he threw it against the dashboard. It shattered. He got out of the car, walked to the edge of the lot, put his hands on his knees and breathed like he was drowning. Aria looked at Dominic. "Who is it?" "Marcus Chen." The name hit her like a sledgehammer. "Marcus is dead. They found him in the river." "They found a body in the river, but it wasn't Marcus." "How do you know?" "Because I've been tracking him for 3 days. He's alive, in hiding, spending Volkov money and planning his next move." Aria's mind reeled. Marcus, Caleb's partner, his best friend for 15 years. Why would he? Greed, fear, the usual reasons men betray each other. Dominic's voice was flat, dead. The Volkovs got to him 6 months ago, offered him enough money to disappear, start over. All he had to do was feed them information, so he did. And the body? Some poor bastard they dressed in Marcus's clothes, similar build, similar age, dumped him in the river to make us think the threat was gone. Caleb came back to the car. His eyes were red, hollow. "Where is he?" "Safe house in Evanston, small place, 2 exits, minimal security. Take me there." "Caleb, I said take me there." Dominic looked at Aria. She nodded. What else could they do? They drove north, through neighborhoods that got progressively quieter, richer. The safe house was a townhome on a tree-lined street. Lights on inside. A car in the driveway. Caleb got out, checked his gun, started for the door. "Wait," Dominic said. "Let me go first. Clear the room. Make sure he's alone." "I don't care if he's alone. I don't care if he's got an army in there. I'm going in." "Caleb, please. Move or I go through you." Dominic stepped aside. Caleb kicked in the door. The interior was nice. Expensive furniture, art on the walls, and sitting at the kitchen table with a drink in his hand was Marcus Chen. He looked up when they entered, didn't seem surprised. "Took you long enough," he said. Caleb's gun came up, pointed at Marcus's head. "Give me one reason not to pull this trigger." "I can't. There isn't one." Marcus took a sip of his drink, calm, resigned. "I knew you'd figure it out eventually. I was hoping to be in another country when you did. But here we are." "Why?" The word came out broken. Because I was tired. Tired of living in fear, tired of watching you build an empire on corpses, tired of knowing that sooner or later someone would put a bullet in both of us. Marcus set down his glass. The Volkovs offered me a way out. I took it. You sold out our crew, got people killed. I got myself out. That's all I ever cared about. Caleb's hand shook. I trusted you. I would have died for you. I know. That's why it was so easy. The gunshot was deafening in the small space. Marcus slumped forward, blood spreading across the expensive table, dead before he hit it. Caleb lowered the gun, stood there, staring. Aria moved to him, touched his shoulder. Caleb, don't. His voice was hollow. Just don't. They stood in the silence, in the aftermath. 3 people covered in blood and secrets and the wreckage of trust. Then Dominic's phone rang. He answered, listened. His face went hard. What? Aria asked. Elena. She's got the rest of the Volkov crew. She's making a move, tonight. She's going after our territory, all of it. How many men does she have? Caleb asked. His voice was mechanical, empty. 40, maybe 50. And us? 20, if we call everyone in. Caleb looked at Marcus's body, at the blood pooling on the floor, at the life he'd built and watched crumble. Then he looked at Dominic. Call them in, he said. All of them. We end this tonight. Caleb, we're outnumbered 2-1. I don't care. I'm done running, done hiding, done playing defense. He met Dominic's eyes. You were right. About the rat. About all of it. I'm sorry I doubted you. It's forgotten. No, it's not. But we'll deal with that later. Right now. He checked his gun. Reloaded. Right now we go to war. They left Marcus where he fell. Drove back to the city. Made calls. Sent texts. Within an hour, Caleb's entire crew was assembled at a warehouse on the west side. 20 men, all armed, all ready. Caleb stood in front of them, looked at faces he'd known for years. Men who'd bled for him, killed for him. Men who were about to walk into hell because he asked them to. The Volkovs want war, he said. His voice carried through the space. They've been pushing us for months, stealing our territory, killing our people, turning our own against us. Tonight, we push back. Tonight, we show them what happens when you fuck with us. Tonight, he raised his gun. Tonight, we burn them to the ground. A roar went up, primal, savage. They loaded into cars, checked weapons, said silent prayers to whatever they believed in. Aria stood beside Dominic. I should stay here. No. I'm not a soldier. I'll just slow you down. You killed 3 men 2 nights ago. You jumped off a pier into freezing water. You've earned your place in this fight. He handed her a gun. Besides, I'm not letting you out of my sight. Dominic, no arguments. We started this together. We end it together. She took the gun. If I die tonight, you won't. If I do, she continued, I want you to know. I believe you. About the meeting, about everything. I'm sorry I doubted you. He pulled her close, kissed her hard. Tell me after, when we're both alive and this is over. Deal. The convoy moved out. 8 cars, 20 men and 1 woman. They drove through the city like a funeral procession. The Volkov headquarters was a club downtown. 3 stories, basement level, multiple exits, fortified like a castle. They parked 2 blocks away. Got out. Moved on foot through alleys and shadows. Caleb's plan was simple, brutal, effective. Half the crew would hit the front, draw attention, make noise. The other half would come through the back, trap them in a crossfire. Aria was in the second group, with Dominic. They approached the rear entrance, 2 guards outside, smoking, laughing. They didn't laugh long. Dominic moved like smoke. 2 shots. Silenced. Both guards dropped. They stepped over the bodies, into the building. The hallway was empty. Music pounded from somewhere above, bass that shook the walls. Then the shooting started out front. Chaos erupted, shouting, running footsteps, the Volkovs rushing to defend the main entrance. Caleb's voice crackled over the radio. Now! Dominic's group burst from the hallway, caught the Volkovs from behind. It was a massacre. Aria fired. Again. Again. Muscle memory and survival instinct. The gun kicked in her hands. Bodies fell. She didn't think. Couldn't afford to. They fought through the first floor, the second, bodies everywhere, blood on the walls, the smell of gunpowder and death. Then they found her. Elena. Third floor. Office, surrounded by her remaining men. There's nowhere left to run, Caleb said. He stood in the doorway, gun raised, blood on his face. It's over. Elena smiled. Is it? She pressed a button on her desk. The building shook. Explosion. Basement level. Fire bloomed through the floor. I wired this place yesterday, Elena said calmly, when I realized you'd figure out Marcus. When I knew you'd come for me. So yes, it's over for all of us. The floor cracked, gave way. Someone screamed. Out! Dominic roared. Everyone out! They ran, fire chasing them, smoke filling their lungs. The building was collapsing, falling in on itself. Aria's boot caught on debris. She went down. Dominic pulled her up. Keep moving! They burst out the front entrance, into the street. Behind them, the building imploded, fire and smoke, and the sound of everything ending. They collapsed on the pavement, coughing, gasping, alive. Caleb did a head count. 15 of his men made it out, 5 didn't. The Volkovs, none of them escaped, including Elena. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. We need to move, Dominic said. They scattered. Back to cars, back to safe houses, back to the shadows where they belonged. Aria sat in the back of Caleb's car, covered in soot and blood, her ears still ringing, her hands still shaking. Dominic took her hand, squeezed. She squeezed back. Is it really over? She asked. Caleb met her eyes in the rearview mirror. The Volkovs are gone. Marcus is dead. The rat is buried. He paused. Yeah, it's over. But his voice didn't sound convinced. And as they drove through the burning city, Aria realized something that made her blood run cold. Wars didn't end. They just paused. And somewhere in the darkness, someone was already planning the next move. They reached the safe house as dawn broke. Pink and gold light washing over a city that had no idea how close it came to burning. Inside they collapsed, too exhausted to speak, too broken to process. Aria fell asleep on the couch. When she woke, afternoon light streamed through the windows. Dominic was sitting in a chair across from her, watching. How long was I out? She asked. 6 hours. Where's Caleb? Making arrangements for the men we lost, their families. She sat up. Every muscle screamed. What happens now? Now? Dominic leaned forward. Now we rebuild, fortify, make sure this never happens again. And us? What about us? Are we... She struggled for the words. After everything. After the doubts and the lies and, I love you, Dominic said simply. That hasn't changed, won't change. The question is whether you can live with what I am, what this life demands. Aria thought about the gun in her hand, the bodies she'd left behind, the blood under her fingernails. I think, she said slowly, I'm already living it. He crossed to her, pulled her up, kissed her like they had all the time in the world. They didn't. The door burst open. Caleb stood there, face white, phone in his hand. We have a problem, he said. What kind of problem? The kind where Vincent Castellano just called to collect on the favor we owe him. Caleb's hands shook. He wants us to hit a federal evidence warehouse tomorrow night, destroy files that could put him away for life. That's suicide, Dominic said. I know. We don't have a choice. We owe him, and if we refuse, he comes for us, Aria finished. Caleb nodded. So we go. We hit the warehouse, and we pray we don't all end up dead or in prison. The 3 of them stood in the fading light, battered, exhausted, bound together by blood and choices and something that looked like love but felt more like survival. When do we leave? Dominic asked. Tomorrow, sunset. Then we have one night to prepare. One night to live. One night before they walked back into the fire. Aria looked at Dominic, at Caleb, at the life she'd chosen. And for the first time since she came back to Chicago, she smiled. Not because she was happy, but because she was exactly where she was supposed to be. In the darkness. with the people she loved, ready to burn the whole world down if that's what it took to survive. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning. And this time, the federal evidence warehouse sat on the edge of the city like a monument to everything they were about to destroy. Concrete walls, razor wire, security cameras every 20 feet, the kind of place designed to keep secrets locked away forever. Aria stood in the parking lot across the street, watching the sun bleed into the horizon. Tomorrow this would all be over. One way or another. Dominic appeared beside her, didn't speak, just stood there, sharing the silence. "You ever think about running?" she asked. "Every day? What stops you?" He looked at her. "You do." The words should have been romantic. Instead, they felt like chains, like promises that would get them both killed. Caleb's voice crackled over the radio. 5 minutes. Everyone in position. They moved. Aria and Dominic took the south entrance. 2 of Caleb's men covered the north. Caleb himself would go through the roof. Classic pincer movement, designed to split attention and maximize chaos. The plan was simple. Get in. Plant explosives on the file storage area Vincent specified. Get out. Vincent's tech guy had already looped the security feeds. They'd have 12 minutes before anyone noticed. 12 minutes to commit a federal crime that would haunt them forever. The lock on the south entrance gave way to Dominic's picks in 40 seconds. They slipped inside. The hallway was sterile. Fluorescent lights, linoleum floors, the smell of old paper and bureaucracy. Aria's heart hammered. Every step felt like walking toward the edge of a cliff. They reached the storage area, rows and rows of boxes, files dating back decades, evidence from cases closed and open, lives reduced to paper and ink. Dominic pulled the explosives from his pack, started setting charges. Aria kept watch, gun drawn, ears straining for any sound that didn't belong. "How much time?" she whispered. 6 minutes. Not enough. Never enough. A door opened somewhere above them. Footsteps. Voices. "Shit," Dominic muttered. "We've got company." "Guards?" "Sounds like 2, maybe 3. Aria's grip tightened on her gun. "Can you finish?" "Need another 2 minutes. Then I'll buy you 2 minutes. Aria, she was already moving back into the hallway, toward the voices. Her boots made no sound on the linoleum. She rounded a corner, and there they were. 2 security guards, older men, probably close to retirement, just doing their jobs. She raised the gun. They saw her, reached for their weapons. "Don't," she said. "Please don't." The older guard's hand froze on his holster. "Miss, you need to put that down." "I can't. We don't want trouble. Neither do I, but if you call this in, people die. Good people. People I love." The guards looked at each other, some silent conversation passing between them. "We're going to need you to lower the weapon," the younger one said. His voice shook. "I'm asking you to walk away. Go outside, take a break. Don't come back for 10 minutes. After that, you can report whatever you want, but please, just walk away." "We can't do that." "Then I'm sorry." She fired. Not at them. At the ceiling. The sound was deafening in the enclosed space. The guards dropped, covered their heads. "Next one doesn't miss," Aria said. "Go." They went, scrambling, terrified. She waited until they were gone, then ran back to the storage area. Dominic was finishing the last charge. "I heard shots. Guards, they're gone. For now." He armed the detonator. "We've got 90 seconds before this place goes up. Move." They ran. Back through hallways, past empty offices. The south exit was 30 feet away when the first explosion hit. Not from the charges they'd set, from somewhere else. The north entrance. Caleb's voice on the radio. "We've got a problem. Someone else is here. They're, Static. Then nothing. Dominic grabbed Aria's arm. "We need to find him." "The charges. Fuck the charges. Move." They changed direction, ran toward the north side. Smoke was already filling the corridors. Fire alarms screaming. The sprinkler system kicked on, drenching everything. They found Caleb pinned down in a loading dock. 3 men in tactical gear laying down suppressing fire. Not cops, not feds. Something else. Private contractors. Vincent's men. Son of a bitch, Dominic breathed. He set us up. Aria's mind raced. Vincent had sent them here knowing they'd fail, knowing they'd get caught or killed. Either way, the debt would be paid, and he'd have one less rival to worry about. Dominic opened fire, dropped one contractor, then another. The third took cover behind a forklift. "Caleb!" Aria screamed. "We need to move!" "Kind of busy." He fired twice. Reloaded. "There's more coming. I can hear them." Dominic looked at the charges, at the timer counting down on his phone. 45 seconds. "We're out of time," he said. "Then we fight our way out," Caleb called back. "There's at least 10 more coming down that hallway." "Then we fight through 10. The explosives Dominic had set detonated. The building shook. Concrete cracked. The ceiling began to collapse. "Out!" Dominic roared. "Everyone out!" They ran. Caleb laid down covering fire. The contractor behind the forklift took a bullet to the leg and went down screaming. They burst through an emergency exit into the parking lot. Behind them, the warehouse was coming apart. Fire, smoke, sirens wailing in the distance. They made it to the car, piled in. Dominic drove like the devil was chasing them. Maybe he was. 4 blocks away, Caleb slammed his fist into the dashboard. "Vincent tried to kill us." "I know. We walk into his club. We put a gun to his head. We do nothing," Dominic interrupted. "Not yet." "Like hell." "Think, Caleb. He wanted us dead or arrested. We're neither. That puts us in a position of power." "How do you figure?" "Because now he doesn't know what we're going to do. Doesn't know if we'll retaliate or disappear or make a deal with someone else. That uncertainty? That's leverage." Aria watched them. 2 killers planning their next move. She should have been horrified. Should have demanded they stop. That they walk away from this life before it consumed them completely. Instead, she said, "What do we do?" Dominic looked at her in the rearview mirror. "We survive, like always." They ditched the car in an alley, took a cab to a hotel under a fake name, paid cash. The room was small, cheap. 2 beds and a bathroom that had seen better days. Caleb collapsed onto one bed. Aria took the other. Dominic stood by the window, watching the street. "We can't keep doing this," Aria said quietly. "I know. Eventually we're going to run out of luck. I know. So what do we do?" Caleb sat up, looked at his sister, at Dominic. "We leave." Silence. "What?" Aria asked. "We leave Chicago. Tonight. All 3 of us. We take what money we've got, we get on a plane, and we disappear." "Caleb, I'm serious. This city is poison. It's killed everyone I've ever cared about. Marcus, the crew. It's going to kill us too if we stay." Dominic turned from the window. "And go where?" "I don't care. Mexico, Canada, somewhere they can't find us." "They'll always find us." "Then we keep running." Aria's chest tightened. "Is that what you want? To spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder?" Caleb looked at her. His eyes were hollow, haunted. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you in it. That's all I've ever wanted. And if running is what it takes," he swallowed hard, "then I'll run until my legs give out." The honesty of it broke something in her. She crossed to him, sat beside him, took his hand. "I came back to Chicago to save you," she said, "not to run away with you." "You can't save me, Aria. I'm too far gone." "I don't believe that." "Then you're a fool." "Maybe, but I'm a fool who loves you." She looked at Dominic. "Both of you. And I'm not leaving. Not until we finish this." "Finish what?" Caleb asked. "There's nothing left to finish. We're done." "Not yet." Aria stood, walked to the window, looked out at the city. "Vincent tried to kill us. That means he's scared. That means we have something he wants, or knows something that could hurt him." Dominic's eyes narrowed. "Go on." "The warehouse. The files he wanted destroyed. What was in them?" "I don't know. He never said." "Exactly. Which means it's big. Big enough to risk hiring us. Big enough to try to kill us when it went wrong." Caleb sat forward. "You think we can use it against him?" "I think we can find out what he was so desperate to hide. And once we know—" She smiled, bitter, hard. "We make him pay for every bullet he sent our way." Dominic stared at her. You've changed. Yes. The woman I knew 9 years ago would have run. The woman you knew 9 years ago died in that warehouse. This is who's left. He crossed to her, cupped her face. I'm sorry. Don't be. I chose this. All of it. And I'd choose it again. He kissed her, soft, lingering. A goodbye or a promise, she couldn't tell. When he pulled back, Caleb was watching them. His expression was complicated, resigned and sad and something that might have been acceptance. If we do this, he said, if we go after Vincent, there's no coming back. He's connected, protected. We'll have to burn every bridge we've got left. Then we burn them, Aria said. Caleb nodded slowly. Okay, but we do it smart. We don't go in guns blazing. We gather intel. We find leverage. We make sure when we hit him, he stays down. How long will that take? Dominic asked. A week, maybe 2. We don't have 2 weeks. He knows we're alive. He'll come for us. Then we make sure he can't find us. Caleb stood, started pacing. We go dark, burn the phones, ditch the credit cards, move every 12 hours, stay in cash-only motels until we're ready. Aria watched her brother shift into tactical mode, watched the strategist take over. This was what he did. What he was good at. Maybe the only thing he had left. What do you need from us? She asked. Everything. Every favor you're owed, every contact you've got, every piece of dirt on Vincent Castellano you can dig up. He looked at them both. We're going to war with the most powerful man in Chicago. We do it right or we die trying. They spent the next 10 days living like ghosts. Different hotel every night. Never the same restaurant twice. Aria cut her hair. Dominic grew a beard. Caleb wore glasses he didn't need and walked with a limp to change his gait. They gathered information, bank records, property deeds, shipping manifests, anything that could tie Vincent to illegal activity. What they found was damning. Vincent wasn't just running the South Side. He was laundering money for 3 different cartels, trafficking guns across state lines. And the files in the warehouse? Evidence from a federal investigation into his operation. Evidence he'd paid millions to make disappear. This is enough to put him away for life, Dominic said, looking at the documents spread across their current motel room. If we give it to the feds, Caleb added. But the moment we do, we become witnesses, targets. They'll put us in protective custody, separate us. So we don't give it to the feds, Aria said. We give it to him. Both men looked at her. Explain, Caleb said. We make a deal. We give him the evidence in exchange for our freedom. He leaves us alone. We leave Chicago. Everybody wins. He'll never go for it. He will if the alternative is spending the rest of his life in federal prison. Dominic shook his head. You're assuming he honors the deal. The second we hand over that evidence, what's stopping him from killing us? Nothing. Unless we make copies. Unless we put those copies with people who'll release them if anything happens to us. Aria met his eyes. Dead man's switch. He touches us. The evidence goes public. Everyone loses. Caleb was quiet for a long moment. Then he started to laugh. That's actually brilliant. Or insane, Dominic muttered. Both, Aria agreed. But it's all we've got. They set the meeting for neutral ground. A restaurant downtown, public, witnesses, safety and visibility. Vincent showed up with 2 bodyguards. Expensive suit, predator's smile. He sat across from them in a booth at the back. You have impressive survival instincts, he said. I'll give you that. You tried to kill us, Caleb said flatly. I tried to clean up a mess. You're still here, so clearly I failed. Vincent sipped his water. What do you want? To make a deal. I'm listening. Caleb slid a folder across the table. Vincent opened it. His smile disappeared. Where did you get this? Does it matter? What matters is there's more. Copies. With people who'll make sure it reaches the FBI if anything happens to us. Vincent's jaw clenched. You're blackmailing me. We're offering you a choice. Let us walk away. We disappear. You never hear from us again. The evidence stays buried. And if I refuse? Then we mail it to every federal agency in the state. Your operation burns, you go to prison, and we disappear anyway. Vincent stared at him, then at Dominic, at Aria. You're asking me to trust you. No, we're asking you to trust your own self-interest. You let us go, you keep your empire. You come after us, you lose everything. The silence stretched. Vincent's fingers drummed on the table, calculating, weighing options. Fine, he said finally. You have 48 hours to leave Chicago. After that, if I see any of you again, deal's off. Agreed. Vincent stood, buttoned his jacket. For what it's worth, you would have made good soldiers. Shame it had to end this way. He left. His bodyguards followed. Aria exhaled slowly. Did that just work? Maybe, Caleb said, or maybe he's planning to kill us the second we step outside. Only one way to find out. They left the restaurant, made it to the car. No bullets, no ambush. Just the sound of the city at night and the knowledge that they'd survived one more day. They packed in silence. 3 bags. Everything they owned. Everything that mattered. Caleb booked 3 one-way tickets to Portland. Far enough to start over. Small enough to disappear. They left at dawn, drove to the airport, checked in under fake names. At the gate, Caleb stopped, looked at his sister, at Dominic. This is it. Last chance to change our minds. Are you changing yours? Aria asked. No. Then neither am I. Dominic took her hand. Same. They boarded the plane, found their seats. The engines roared to life. As Chicago fell away beneath them, Aria pressed her forehead against the window. She thought about the girl who'd stepped off a plane 10 days ago, the one who thought she could save her brother and walk away clean. That girl was gone, burned away in warehouse fires and gunfights, in choices that couldn't be unmade. What was left was someone harder, someone who'd killed without hesitation and slept without nightmares, someone who'd chosen love over safety and survival over innocence. She didn't regret it, couldn't afford to. Dominic's hand found hers, squeezed. She squeezed back. Across the aisle, Caleb stared out his own window. His reflection in the glass looked older, tired. But when he caught her looking, he smiled. Small, real. It was enough. Portland was rain and green and coffee shops on every corner. They rented an apartment in a quiet neighborhood. Nothing fancy, just a place to breathe. For the first month, they jumped at every sound, checked locks twice, slept in shifts. But Vincent kept his word. No one came. Slowly, carefully, they started to live. Caleb got a job managing a bar. Aria enrolled in school under a new name. Dominic did consulting work, security systems, he said, which was close enough to true. They had dinner together every Sunday, talked about normal things. Weather, sports, the neighbor's dog who wouldn't stop barking. It was boring, safe. Everything Aria had run from 9 years ago. And it was perfect. 6 months in, Dominic proposed. They were walking along the waterfront, gray sky, cold wind. He stopped, pulled out a ring. I know this isn't how you imagined it, he said. No fancy restaurant, no big speech. But I love you, and I want to spend whatever time we have left making you happy. If you'll let me. Aria looked at the ring, at him, at the life they'd built from ashes and blood. Yes, she said. They got married in a courthouse. Caleb was the witness. Aria wore a dress she bought for $50. Dominic wore the only suit he owned. It was the most beautiful day of her life. The judge pronounced them married. They kissed. Caleb clapped. Afterward, they went to a diner, ate pie, laughed about nothing. And for the first time since she'd returned to Chicago, Aria felt something close to peace. That night, lying in bed next to her husband, she said, "Do you think we made the right choice? Leaving?" Dominic was quiet. Then, "I think we made the only choice we could live with." "Do you miss it, the life?" "Parts of it, the clarity, the simplicity of violence, knowing exactly who your enemies were." He turned to look at her. "But I don't miss wondering if I'd wake up the next day. Don't miss watching people I care about die. And I definitely don't miss being scared every second that I'd lose you. You almost did, so many times. But I didn't. You're here. I'm here. That's what matters." She kissed him, soft, slow. "I love you. I love you too." They fell asleep tangled together, safe, whole, alive. 1 year later, Aria woke to sunlight streaming through the bedroom window and the smell of coffee from the kitchen. She stretched, smiled, checked her phone. A text from Caleb. "Brunch? Found a place that does bottomless mimosas." She typed back, You're trying to get me drunk at 10 a.m. It's Sunday. That's what Sundays are for. Fine. Noon? Perfect. She got up, found Dominic in the kitchen making pancakes. He'd gotten good at it over the past year, almost domestic. Morning, he said, kissing her. Morning. Caleb wants brunch. Of course he does. They ate, showered, walked to the restaurant hand in hand. The city was quiet, peaceful. Caleb was already there, sitting at a corner table, grinning. You're late, he said. We're exactly on time, Aria replied, sliding into the booth. Tomato. They ordered, ate, talked about Caleb's new girlfriend, a teacher, impossibly sweet, nothing like anyone he'd ever dated before. She doesn't know, he said quietly. About Chicago. About who I was. Are you going to tell her? Aria asked. I don't know. Part of me thinks she deserves the truth. The other part thinks... He stopped. Thinks she's better off not knowing. That if she knew, she'd run. And I don't think I could survive losing someone else. Dominic set down his fork. You can't build a life on lies, says the man who's been using a fake name for a year. That's different. Is it? They stared at each other. Then Caleb sighed. You're right. I know you're right. I want to be better. For her. Want to be the man she thinks I am. Then be that man, Aria said. The past doesn't define us. What we do now does. Caleb smiled. When did you get so wise? When I started listening to my idiot brother. He threw a piece of bread at her. She caught it, laughed. And in that moment, sitting in a restaurant in a city far from home, with the people she loved most in the world, Aria realized something profound. They'd survived. Not just the violence, not just Chicago, but the aftermath, the weight of what they'd done, the choices that would haunt them forever. And they'd survived together. Some loves didn't fade, she thought. Some lines, once crossed, didn't destroy you. They redefined you, made you something new, something harder, something that could look at darkness and not blink. She reached across the table, took Caleb's hand, Dominic's. I'm glad we made it, she said. Caleb's eyes went wet. Me too. Dominic just squeezed her hand. No words needed. They finished brunch, paid, walked out into the afternoon sun. Behind them, Chicago was a memory, a scar, a story they'd tell someday when they were old and the edges had softened. But that day wasn't today. Today they were alive, free, together. And that was enough. It would always be enough. As they walked down the street, Aria between her brother and her husband, their hands linked, their futures uncertain but theirs to write, she thought about the door that had clicked shut like a verdict that night so long ago. The door to Dominic's room. The moment everything changed. She'd been terrified, lost, running from a life she didn't want and straight into a life she hadn't known she needed. And if she could go back, if she could warn that girl about what was coming, about the blood and the fear and the impossible choices, she wouldn't, because that girl needed to become this woman, needed to learn that strength wasn't avoiding darkness, it was walking through it and coming out the other side, needed to learn that love wasn't safe, it was choosing someone despite the cost, because of it, needed to learn that family wasn't blood. It was the people who stood beside you when the world burned and didn't flinch. They reached the apartment, climbed the stairs, unlocked the door. Inside it was quiet, warm, home. Aria kicked off her shoes, collapsed on the couch. Dominic sat beside her. Caleb took the chair. They didn't talk. Didn't need to. Just sat there in the fading light, breathing the same air, existing in the same space. Survivors, fighters, family. Outside, the city hummed with life. People going about their days, unaware of the 3 people in this apartment who'd died and been reborn in fire. And somewhere, in a city far away, a warehouse still stood in ruins, evidence of a war nobody would ever know about. But they knew. They'd carry it forever. The scars, the memories, the knowledge of what they were capable of when pushed to the edge. And that was okay, because they'd also carry this moment, this peace, this choice to live instead of just survive. Aria closed her eyes, felt Dominic's hand in hers, heard Caleb's quiet breathing, This was enough. This was everything. And when she opened her eyes again, the sun was setting, painting the room in shades of gold and amber. A new day ending, a new life beginning. And for the first time in longer than she could remember, Aria Vance wasn't running. She was home. In a world built on power, blood, and betrayal, love didn't break them. It made them unstoppable. And in the quiet moments between heartbeats, when the ghosts of who they'd been whispered in the dark, they chose each other. Again, and again, and again, until the whispers faded and only the truth remained. Some lines, once crossed, don't destroy you. They set you free.